Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Marnie Sanders, and I am the CEO of the Yuba-Sutter Chamber of Commerce. I just want to thank all of you for joining us today. And I want to give a special thanks and shout out to Fiona Ma, the California State Treasurer, and her group who has been kind enough to bring together today a group of panelists that will be sharing some wonderful resources that are available to our business community. We really appreciate the efforts that you're putting forth to support those of us who are struggling along in our businesses here. They've been doing this in a number of counties, and so again, we really appreciate them being here. So we hope that you find some great informative information today. And from here, I'm actually going to turn it over to our Yuba County Supervisor, Gary Bradford.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Yuba-Sutter Small Business Webinar. Small businesses are the backbone of our community, and I want to thank each of you for taking the time away from your busy schedule to be here today. And I also want to say thank you to California State Treasurer Fiona Ma and her team, in addition to the Yuba-Sutter Economic Development Corporation and the Yuba-Sutter Chamber of Commerce for putting the webinar together. In addition to the great resources that you will learn about today, I also want to make sure you know about a Yuba County team that's dedicated to supporting our businesses. It's the YES team, and you can learn more about them and reach out to them by going to yes2yuba.org, and that's YESTO, yuba.org. I hope you receive great information today, and it's beneficial in supporting your business, especially during these challenging times. So thank you again to the team that put this on.
Thank you, Gary. And we absolutely appreciate all of our electeds who have been working very hard on behalf of our businesses here. So our big thanks to you. And now I will turn it over to Steve Smith, who is our Sutter County Chief Administrative Officer. Steve.
Thanks, Marnie. And thank you, Fiona Ma and your team as well. We really appreciate this opportunity. Like Supervisor Bradford mentioned, we know our businesses have been struggling, but that through the Yuba-Sutter Chamber of Commerce and efforts from both counties and city and local cities, we've been making some great headway. We're really happy to partner on this with the Chamber and with Yuba County. And I know Sutter County and Yuba County partner on many bi-county and some tri-county issues, unlike I think any other counties in California. And again, it's just a pleasure to be here and sitting in for Supervisor Flores, who sends his apologies. He's on another county related meeting in Oroville today. So thank you.
Great. Well, I just want to say thank you again for those who have put this together. And I believe now I'm kicking it over to Fiona Ma.
Unmute. Thank you, Marnie, and thank you, Supervisor, as well as Steve Smith. And I have had a long-standing relationship with Yuba and Sutter and also Glenn County when I sat next to Supervisor Bob Williams back in probably 2007. And then I joined the Agriculture Committee and have done about 100 tours since then. And you know, your counties are full of agriculture, and we thank all of the farmers for providing, you know, high quality, fresh, healthy fruits, nuts, and vegetables. And most recently, I was up there on October 2nd, meeting with the Yuba Water Agency and did a tour of the dam and trying to work with them on, you know, wastewater projects, connecting them to the city of Wheatland, Olivehurst, as well as the Hard Rock Casino area, hydro generated solar and battery storage, perhaps a new biomass facility, and of course a second spillway for that dam. And then we came over and did a rice tour with Charlie Hoppin. He's a rice grower and former chairman of the state water board. And I got to get into a rice hauler, which is state of the art, all electric, air conditioned. And it was very interesting to see how, rice is harvested. And it all makes sense because one of my other agencies, the California Pollution Control Financing Authority, is also helping to finance the CalPlant facility. We produce 500,000 acres of rice here in the state of California, and most of the rice straw has been wasted. But now, thanks to this new facility, we will be able to recycle, reuse, and actually create high quality fiberboard that will be more fire resistant as well as water resistant. So it will definitely help in our construction of more affordable housing across the state, which is at a high point. So I just wanted to thank everyone for inviting us here today. I have an external outreach team, and pre-COVID, we used to go to the different communities and do these type of webinars, but now thanks to Zoom, we're able to bring more speakers and cover more topics. My office has done about 100 webinars, mostly focused to small businesses, understanding that we are the backbone, as the supervisor said, yet it is so hard to operate a small business. And even during this pandemic, where the federal government has been helping us with a lot of extra stimulus money, it seemed that the PPP money got to the larger companies, the ones that are a little more sophisticated, and the small businesses, again, were kind of left to fend for themselves. And so on my website, www.treasure.ca.gov, I've got two prominent buttons. The first one is our official COVID-19 button that has the latest executive orders and opening protocols and links to resources along the federal government, state government, and local governments. And then my COVID-19 resource guides are updated in real time. And so my team is always gathering information. Even after today, someone may bring up a new resource for small businesses, but our guides are for small businesses, individuals, nonprofits, seniors, tax relief, food access, as well as just general information for individuals. And again, we encourage you to come to our link because we update them and you're not applying for a loan or a grant program that has expired. I also set up a dedicated email and it is askfiona@treasure.ca.gov. So if we have not answered any of your questions today, or if you have other questions, you can't get through to an 800 number, you're checking on your PPP loan or your unemployment insurance claim, you can't get through, please email us, and Catherine Asprey will do her very best to answer your questions, connect you, or track down your application and tell you where you are in the process. So we have a packed group of speakers. They are all experts in their field, and I'm going to ask each one to self-introduce themselves, then turn it over to the next speaker. And then if there's any questions, please put them in the chat box. We will do our best to get them answered. But again, if we can't answer your questions, I will send your questions over to Catherine and she will get back to you very shortly. So thank you again. And I'm going to turn it over to Michelle from the Northern Regional Advisor and Interim Program Manager for our Cal Office of Small Business, Government's Office of Business and Economic Development under GO-Biz. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Treasurer Ma, and I want to thank you to the Yuba-Sutter Chamber and the Economic Development Corporation for having me here today, and great invitation to be able to speak to your small businesses in Yuba-Sutter. So like Treasurer Ma had introduced, my name is Michelle Radmand. I am the Northern Regional Advisor and Interim Program Manager for the Office of the Small Business Advocate, also known as CalOSBA, which is the phrase I'll be using going forward. And we are housed within the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. And so to kind of kick us off, just a brief overview of our business landscape. We are home to 4.1 million small businesses, representing 99.8% of all businesses in the state. And that's 7.2 million workers in California. So small businesses make up approximately 50% of the state's total workforce. And so with that, we are huge drivers of the economic growth and mobility in our state, creating about 2/3 of new net jobs. So just a bit more about our office. Noah, if we can go to the next page, please. Thank you. So for our office, our mission is quite simple. We help to support economic growth and innovation by working to ensure that all California small businesses and innovative startups have the information, tools, and resources that they need to start, manage, and grow. So with that, we are the principal advocate in the state on behalf of all small businesses, all 4.1 million. And we represent their views, we represent the interests across state government. We work to ensure that information, content, and direct support are available to you all to better navigate what state resources are out there, like the great ones that are going to be presented here, and programs and regulations. And so we support also the small businesses to increase their resiliency for the unfortunate disasters that do hit California. So we work to prepare those businesses and ensure that they can recover and respond in a way that ensures success. And lastly, we work to align with Governor Newsom's focus on building a California for all. So we are truly committed to creating an inclusive and entrepreneurial and small business ecosystem to eliminate any sort of opportunity gaps that exist across zip code, race, and or gender. Next slide. And so here is a map of our existing a network of centers, and I'll go into that in just a bit. So our office, we do provide direct assistance. We did receive a surge of requests for direct technical assistance from small businesses as a result of the pandemic. And we have maintained an extensive resource guide, just like Treasurer Ahmad, on our website, listing the latest state actions and detailing the most critical resources that are available. And that is also updated in real time. So if you go to our website and you were to have any questions about any of those resources or how to access those resources, you can send us an email directly at business.ca.gov/Zendesk. And that comes directly to me and my team here at OSBA. Our office also works actively to amplify all of the information in collaboration with GO-Biz through our website tools, webinars, podcasts, newsletters, community events, and earned media and social media. So I would highly encourage you to visit our website often for any upcoming activities that share critical information and resources to you all. And in regards to this map, local assistance is very critical. And so to connect small businesses to resources and information in our networks, we provide accessible training, consulting, and tools for small businesses and entrepreneurs to start up and launch, access capital, like my colleague here, Megan, at IBank, compete in markets and grow or scale. And so from our office, we administer a state-supported network of small business centers for expansion, to support underserved business groups like women-owned businesses, veterans, minorities, and people of color, those in rural counties, and those who have been impacted by disasters. And so there are 81 currently federally contracted small business centers that provide services in over 30 languages. And they help California small businesses pivot, navigate new guidance, access the capital that is available both at the state and federal level, and adapt to the new marketplace demands to currently survive COVID-19. And so this map is just a static map, but if you were to visit this map, you can hone in on those centers, identify which one is in your area, and review, their specialties and their services. And so you can visit that at business.ca.gov/centers. Next slide, please. And so, as I had mentioned, we advocate on behalf of you all to ensure that you have access to capital, access to networks, and access to markets. With respect to access to capital, again, we advocate across private and corporate philanthropy, the financial sector within state government to promote investments in capital programs to support small business recovery. So thus far that has included federal relief, and at the state level, we have engaged in recent efforts to fund California IBank at GO-Biz and help ensure capital is available for the smallest of the small, our micro entrepreneurs and the underserved, especially those who are not eligible or lacked any sort of access to federal relief. And so my great colleague Megan will go into those IBank programs. And then in May of 2019, we launched entrepreneurship task force in our office. And this was really to create a bridge between the state and the entrepreneurial and small business communities. And that includes a diverse portfolio of 15 successful entrepreneurs who engage directly with the small business community, with the entrepreneurs to understand what their challenges are and help them navigate the landscape. And then for access to network and supply chains, excuse me, we work on small business procurement issues and helping small business access state markets, global markets, e-commerce markets. And this is to better ensure that you have a greater reach with your business. And so our office serves on the Small Business Committee at Caltrans Department of General Services, as well as engages with the agencies assigned as small business advocates. And we do prioritize procurement training across all small business center networks. Next page, please. And so I'm going to quickly go into this. It's our Get Digital California e-commerce initiative, and this supports small businesses to adopt digital online tools, e-commerce solutions, social media platforms, and other technology platforms to pivot your business. And then, of course, adapt to the new e-commerce marketplace. Again, with COVID, a lot of businesses are pivoting online or expanding their online marketplace to continue their business and be able to outreach to their consumers. And so the link is here, and I can put it in the chat afterwards. And you can actually find corporate and community partners that have partnered with us to assist and accelerate an online transition through boot camps and intensive trainings. And so this builds off of an initiative during the summer called Shop Safe, Shop Local. And with our partnerships, they are providing 40 free or discounted digital products and services. So I highly encourage you to visit after we wrap here. And so, you know, as you follow us, you will see in December, we will be launching a series of online shopping experiences for California small businesses. And this is to rally consumers again, to shop local, shop small, and to shop with you online. Next, please. Thank you. And so, as I had mentioned, we work heavily on the disaster front for preparedness and resiliency. And to do so, we, on behalf of GO-Biz, engage directly with the Office of Emergency Services to lead the economic recovery support function as part of the California Disaster Recovery Framework post-disasters. So in the event of a disaster, we get activated and we work with our local partners on the ground to support their strategic plans moving forward for economic recovery. And I want to note here, outsmartdisaster.com, they host a unique online tool that businesses can use to assess their resiliency. And this is called the Resilient Business Challenge. And so this is a detailed 5-step course that goes over topics such as identifying impacts of disruption and strengthening your facilities. The challenge will walk you through each step and then provide you with key information along the way that's critical for your business surviving a disaster. And then on our website, as noted, we have a disaster relief resource guide that's updated in real time. This includes state and federal resources that you can leverage to assist your business. Next page, please. Okay. So with that, that concludes the resources that we have in our office and what we do to advocate on your behalf. I'm happy to link these in the chat box as well, as you know, you can't click on them from the Zoom. But we encourage you to, of course, check out the governor's office COVID website for all the latest details regarding COVID in your community and your county. the Get Digital California. These are really critical and amazing tools from our partners that provide you, again, with either free or discounted products for you to use. And then, of course, our disaster assistance resource guide with real-time state and federal information. And then for those centers, again, they provide that one-on-one consulting at no cost and low-cost training. So I highly encourage you, if you have not been connected with a small business center yet, that you access our business.ca.gov/centers and find one near you. There are multiple within the region, and then there are also centers that service statewide. So if you have any questions, please reach out and I'm happy to connect you directly to a center. So with that, I thank you all for allowing me to speak here today, and I am going to kick it off to my colleague Poonum Patel. She's the Assistant Deputy Director for our Office of Business Development and International Trade here within GO-Biz.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for that introduction. And thank you to the Treasurer's Office and the Yuba-Sutter community partners for including us and our sister team, OSBA, on the call today to represent the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. Again, as Michelle mentioned, my name is Poonum Patel. I'm the Assistant Deputy Director for the Business Investment Services team here at GO-Biz, and really we are often the first stop for businesses to get connected to a lot of different government programs at the local, state, and federal level. So happy to go into our service offerings and touch on a couple of different programs as it relates to incentives offerings to help businesses at this time. Can we go to the next slide, please? So as I mentioned, I represent one of the units here within GO-Biz, the Business Investment Services team, and really we have three primary focuses. One is to help businesses engage directly with them to understand what site needs they have here in California. So we'll actually get a sense of what their operations and activities will be, understand what square footage needs they have, where they need to be located, whether they need to be close to a highway, have rail access, all those nitty-gritty details that go into selecting a site here in California. We will actually help with and understand all of those requirements. And then we work very closely with our economic development partners spread out across the state, like the Yuba-Sutter EDC, as well as the Greater Sacramento Economic Council, that really help us in identifying sites that could meet the needs for these companies. And so that's a free service that we provide. Oftentimes that leads into organizing site tours with community partners as well. And so, we will lead that coordination effort from the initial search to all the way to making a decision and scheduling those site tours. The other aspect of what we do is incentive navigation. So we'll get an understanding of the company's operations and activities so that we can help point them to the right resources that they can take use of here to be successful in California. And I'm going to go into some of the programs that won't be covered by other speakers later today, so you get kind of a flavor of what those programs look like. But the other aspect of what we do is permit assistance. This is a very near and dear service offering, I know, to a lot of small businesses here in California, as it can be difficult to try and navigate through the different set of requirements, permits, licenses, certifications that small businesses need to get up and running here in California. So we actually have permit specialists that can walk businesses through those requirements, also make them connections to the actual regulating entities that would have a touch on their project. They often serve as third-party mediators. We're not a regulating entity, but we definitely try to help and improve the process of getting permitted here in California. And so our permit specialists will work one-on-one with businesses to help remove any hurdles along the way, or to try and expedite through processes as well. And all of that service, again, is free. And so we're happy to connect with businesses individually to try and assist them to get them where they need to be compliant here in California. Our permit assistance team also has a couple of different resources on our business portal, which I'll share a little bit about later in my presentation. We have some starter kits, some really quick, handy one-pagers to help small businesses understand in specific key industries that we get frequently asked questions from, what requirements they need to get up and running at a local, state, and federal level. We also have a Cal Gold tool called it's our online permitting tool that we've been updating constantly. It has 147 business types in the tool and represents all 58 counties and over 500 plus cities and communities. So businesses can actually utilize this tool. They can type in their city, their county, and select from a drop-down list of 147 business types to actually ascertain what permits and licenses they're going to need to get up and running. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to go into a little bit about our tax credit and exemption programs. You're going to hear from other state partners on this call today that actually run a lot of these programs, but just know that we are a resource here for you. We're happy to navigate you through all of these programs that would be mentioned on this call and others that aren't. And so really look at us as a resource that can help point you in the right direction. So we'll go ahead and start with the first credit, which is the California Competes Corporate Income Tax Credit Program. This is probably one of our most popular ones. It actually lives within the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. And it's a credit against the income tax due to the Franchise Tax Board. So the way to look at this credit is it's a little bit unique. Companies are actually telling us at GO-Biz here how many corporate income tax credits they feel they need to make a project happen here in California or to keep a project here. And really it's submitting to us essentially a 5-year business plan of what your hiring growth potentials are going to be and what capital investments you're going to be making in the next 5 years. So we actually have 180 million in corporate income tax credits to give out every fiscal year. And we split that allocation into 3 application rounds. And in California in the fiscal year, what we mean is July 1st to June 30th. So we actually just completed a round in August and just announced awards this month actually. But our next application round is going to open on January 4th. We have 80 million available to give out in that round. And so really, if you are a business and you're looking to create jobs and really make some investments into the future for the next 5 years, and you're looking at that expansion, this would be a great program for you to look at. This is also a program from a retention aspect. If you are struggling and you feel like you need a little assistance from the state, you can also look at this program from that lens as well. And again, we have very handy materials on the website there. I included the information there. This team is available. They have a hotline that you can call. They can walk you through the application process. It's all online. They have a very helpful application guide that they have on their website that will actually walk you through a real example. So a lot of great information there. And of course, you are more than free to give us a call and we can walk you through it as well. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you. So the new employment credit, it's funny that this is called new employment credit. It's actually not quite new, but it is another corporate income tax credit program that is meant to incentivize employers in certain designated geographical areas. And what I mean by that is they're either high unemployment or high poverty areas to hire certain types of workers. So either we're looking at workers that have been unemployed for longer than 6 months, and that could, in the day and age that we're in right now with the pandemic, this could actually be a real contender for looking at this credit for different businesses. It could be former veteran, be part of CalWorks. I've listed a couple of other eligibility criteria there for you on the screen. But really, if you're an employer and you plan to hire these types of workers, you could get a corporate income tax credit that's based upon the wages that you pay these individual workers. The wages have to be higher than minimum wage, 150% above minimum wage. But if you are paying them that and you are located in these economically depressed areas, you can get up to 35% of the wages back as a corporate income tax credit for the 5 years that you retain that employee. You know, this is an interesting program in the day and age that we're in right now. You know, it's dependent on where the business is located, but also where the workers are working. And as we look at COVID-19 and how a lot of our workers are remotely working, you know, there's going to be some interesting angles to look at this program depending on where those workers are working out of their homes and if they fall within these high unemployment or high poverty areas. This program is administered by the Franchise Tax Board, and they actually have a pretty helpful designated geographical area map. So you can go on that website and take a look at where your business is located to see if it qualifies in that zone. And again, we're happy to help ascertain that for you as well. Next slide, please. So another program that we have that's quite popular for manufacturers here in California and for folks in the agricultural industry as well is a partial sales and use tax exemption program that is run out of the Department of Tax and Fee Administration. I believe you're going to hear a presentation from the Treasurer's Office later today by Miriam about a full sales and use tax exclusion program, but I'm going to cover the partial sales and use tax program, which is applicable to the state portion of the sales and use tax rate. So if you are a manufacturer and you are purchasing manufacturing equipment here in California, it can even be R&D equipment in California, you can receive up to a 3.9% off of the sales and use tax for the state portion of that that you pay here in California. The ag rate for farm equipment and machinery purchases that you make are actually a little bit higher than that. And there isn't an application per se to apply for this program. You actually utilize it when you're purchasing the equipment. So it's similar to like a resale certificate form that you fill out. You would give that to whoever you're purchasing the equipment from to be exempted at the point of sale. There's also ability to go retroactive on this one. And so, you know, if you didn't know about this program and you've already made equipment purchases, you can go back in previous years to claim the partial sales and use tax exemption. It's a little bit of a longer process to do. It does require you to, you know, claim that and fill out some paperwork with the Department of Tax and Fee Administration. But again, that is something that we can navigate you through as well. This department also has a very helpful program called the Get It in Writing program. So you can actually write to the Department of Tax and Fee Administration, you know, describe to them what equipment purchases you plan to make, and the department can give you in legal writing, you know, the determination for that eligibility consideration for those equipment purchases for this program. Next slide, please. So another program that we have, also a corporate income tax credit, is the research and development corporate tax credit here in California. And this one actually piggybacks it off of the federal corporate income tax credit program, if you're familiar with that one. And it's available to taxpayers who are engaged in qualified research activities in California. This is not something you necessarily have to apply for. You're just claiming it on your tax returns when you do them. And it can consider qualified research expenditures for different aspects of costs incurred for you doing your research expense. I've listed some on the slide there for you. But the key thing to understand about this program here is that it can cover up to 15% of the excess of current year research expenditures, and that's over a computed base amount. So whatever your expenditures were of last year, that excess amount. But it can also qualify if you are contracting to a third party to do your R&D work. We have a lot of companies that utilize our great university system here and take advantage of that. And so, you know, if you are getting assistance to do research and development and incurring expenses to do that from a third-party organization, you can actually get up to a 24% credit back in corporate income tax. Next slide, please. So I just touched on a small snippet of the amount of programs that we have, mainly from a tax perspective. And so I want to alert you guys to this business portal that we've created that is on our website. And we have a number of different other programs that we've organized here that we've organized under industry type. So you can look by your industry, or you can look by the incentive type if you're looking for a specific type of credit, whether it's a tax credit or a grant or a financial assistance program, a loan, or a tax exempt bond. And then we also have incentives categorized and organized by the type of operation you're doing. And for instance, if you're hiring workers and purchasing equipment. So I highly recommend you guys take a look at this business portal. This is also where we keep a lot of our great information for permits. So all those quick start guides that I mentioned earlier are on this website, as well as a link to our CalGold tool. And again, this if you can't find what you're looking for on this portal, we have a team that's backed up here, and you're more than happy to reach out to us through our business portal so that you can get connected to one of our specialists so we can help guide you in the most appropriate way. Next slide, please. And that's the way that you can contact us. That help center is monitored by our team every day. We have a 1 to 2 business day turnaround to respond and get you connected to the right division or organization within our office, or connect you to one of our sister agencies and partners that can help get you the information you need. So I really thank you for listening to me today, and I encourage you all to contact us, get in touch with us, so we can really handhold you through any processes here in California, whether you're looking for permitting assistance or just in general business development assistance. And next slide, I'm actually going to turn it over now to our superstar partner at the Infrastructure Economic Development Bank, Megan Hodapp. She is a loan officer with the IBank, and I know Michelle's already touched on her program earlier. She's going to be talking about the Disaster Relief Loan Guarantee Program. Take it away, Megan. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you. I just wanted to thank the Yuba-Sutter Chamber for having me on today. These kind of events are always fun for me because, as I mentioned earlier, I started my career at the state with the Treasurer's Office in the CalCAP program, and then I worked at the Office of OSBA at GO-Biz, and now I'm at IBank. So it's kind of a little bit of all my worlds combined. So like Poonum said, I am a loan officer with IBank. IBank was created in 1994 as a department that has a broad authority to issue tax exempt and taxable revenue bonds. We can also provide financing to public and private agencies. We provide credit enhancements and can help to acquire or lease facilities and leverage state and federal funds. So that's kind of an overview about IBank as a whole. I specifically work in the Small Business Finance Center. And the Small Business Finance Center is around, we have a couple of different programs, and we're here to help support small businesses with our credit enhancement programs. So we have our traditional loan guarantee program, which helps small businesses that experience difficulty accessing capital by providing a credit enhancement or a loan guarantee on a bank loan. We have 7 financial development corporations throughout the state that facilitate this program. And then we also have our disaster relief loan guarantee program. And that's kind of what I'm going to be talking on a bit more today, just because that's relevant at this time for small businesses. Okay, so our disaster relief loan guarantee program is very similar to our traditional loan guarantee program. We can provide up to a 95% guarantee on a bank loan or up to $1 million, whichever is lower. We describe a small business as anywhere between 1 and 750 employees. The first step, so on this slide, the first step is who qualifies and who's eligible for our program. So basically, as long as it's a small business within 1 to 750 employees that have been negatively impacted by COVID or are experiencing a disruption of their business, and also eligible nonprofits can benefit by using our disaster relief loan guarantee program. Next slide, please. The first step in this program is to reach out to one of our participating lenders on our website. We have a list of lenders on there who have currently made loans and enrolled them in our disaster relief loan guarantee program. And it lists whether, like, what areas they're available in, if they're helping existing clients only. And so that's on our website. So we suggest that you reach out to them directly and go through the application process with them. You can also reach out to your local small business development center, like Michelle was talking about, and they can help you out with applying for the loans through our participating lenders. So another question we're asked often is, how does a loan guarantee work? What does that mean? Sometimes people are confused and think that we do direct lending. But in fact, what a loan guarantee is helps to mitigate the risk assumed by a traditional lending institution. So IBank is willing to provide access to capital, or provide a guarantee to help the lender provide access to capital for these small businesses. Access to capital is a hurdle that a lot of small businesses cross. And so this kind of helps provide some relief. So if the loan were to go bad and they have enrolled it in the disaster loan guarantee program, IBank would pay the bank out so they wouldn't take a loss, essentially, in easy words. Next slide, please. So what can the loan proceeds be used for? So for the disaster relief program specifically, they can be used for business continuance or to cure economic injury as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our traditional program is a little bit more variable as far as what kind of loan proceeds. It can be used for inventory, working capital, business purchases, CRE, a variety of different things. But for the disaster relief loan guarantee program, it's more specifically for business continuance or economic injury to cure that. And then what are the terms of the loan? So the maximum amount of time we can guarantee is 7 years. So the loan could potentially be longer, but our guarantee will only go for 7 years. And we can cover up to 95% of the loan. The interest rates and the underwriting is all done between the lender and the borrower. They have their own individual qualifications and criteria, and we rely on their underwriting skills to uphold that. I think that's my last slide, but I did want to touch on the California Rebuilding Fund. So the California Rebuilding Fund is a $25 million allocation for IBank to essentially build a fund for CDFIs to access capital. One of the problems we were running into during COVID-19 is that we found a lot of CDFIs, community development financial institutions, that wanted to make these loans to businesses, but they didn't have the access to capital themselves to make these loans. So what the California Rebuilding Fund is doing is putting together a pool of money for these CDFIs to access and make loans for businesses. The program is still very much in development. We don't know an exact release date. We know soon, but we don't know when. So at this point, what we're recommending people do is go onto our IBank website. We have a page for the California Rebuilding Fund, and you can sign up on there to be notified once the program goes live. And then there's also a link to the California Rebuilding Fund webpage, and you can access the list of documents that are going to be needed. So you can kind of start getting that stuff ready before the program goes live, so you're ready to go as soon as it's released. These loans are going to be $100,000 or less. The interest rate will be prime plus 1%, and it's going to be for businesses of 50 or less employees. So I will include the link to that in the chat so that anyone can find our website. And that is the end of my presentation. That's the main takeaway for the IBank Disaster Relief Loan Guarantee Program. So on the screen right now is our website. Also, if you have any questions, you can email covid19@ibank.ca.gov. Excuse me, COVID-19 loan at ibank.ca.gov. I'll put that in the chat too. So thank you for having me. That concludes my portion. Oh, and next I would like to introduce Janie Davis. She is the Deputy Director at the California Capital Access Program within the California Pollution Control Financing Authority.
Thank you very much, Megan. appreciate the introduction. I'd also like to express appreciation for the warm welcome from Yuba County and Sutter County, as well as the State Treasurer, Fiona Ma. Thank you very much. My name, as Megan mentioned, is Janie Davis, and I'm from the California. Today I'm representing the California Capital Access Program, or what we fondly refer to as CalCAP. It's a financing program through the State Treasurer's Office's California Pollution Control Financing Authority. And the Treasurer mentioned the California Pollution Control Financing Authority, or CPCFA, earlier when she was talking about the Cal Plant project up in Glenn County. We also do bond financing. But today, the focus of my presentation is on our California Capital Access Program. Next slide, please. Our California Capital Access Program, the focus of my presentation today is going to be on our CalCAP for Small Business Program and our Collateral Support Program. I'm also going to mention the CalCAP Air Resources Board Truck Loan Assistance Program. And those are the three of my focus today. We also have a few other what we call specialty programs under our CalCAP umbrella, that being the CalCAP Electric Vehicle Charging Station Financing Program, the CalCAP Americans with Disabilities Act Financing Program, and the CalCAP Seismic Safety Loan Program. And I put these here as a resource if small businesses are looking for financing in these other areas. We also have these available. But again, the meat of my presentation today is going to be about the Small Business and Collateral Support Program. Next slide, please. The CalCAP, as far as CalCAP is concerned, what businesses or purposes are eligible for CalCAP loans? Just about any business that meets a requirement of a qualified business or a small business concern, according to our regulations. That includes startups and nonprofits and businesses with fewer than 500 employees. There are a few restrictions, not many, on the CalCAP loans, and those are most times you can help with refinancing depending on the origin of the loan. We can help out with commercial real estate financing if that's something that is used for the operation of the business. Passive real estate is something that is not an eligible category for CalCAP loans, or sit and advice type businesses. And we refer to those as activities considered bad if you do too much of them, like gambling, shooting ranges, adult entertainment, or tobacco products, or alcohol sales. However, wineries and breweries are eligible to participate in the CalCAP program. Next slide, please. Here's a little overview. I know these numbers are from last year, but I'd like to give an overview of what types of businesses and industries participate in our CalCAP program. And the top one is transportation and warehousing, this large orange, kind of paler orange section. Transportation and warehousing, and then next is retail trade. And then the third being accommodation and food services. And accommodation and food services, we do get a lot of food trucks enrolling loans in the CalCAP program. And the transportation and warehousing, that tends to be our larger piece of the pie, because for loans that are unable to enroll in our California Air Resources Board program, which is, I'll mention, they can still be part of the small business program. So our programs, if you can't qualify for one, small business can generally qualify for a small business program. Yeah, so if the specialty programs don't work, the small business program usually does work. I did a little summary. I ran some numbers to see what kind of lending the CalCAP program has done in Sutter and Yuba County. And it looks like in 2019, we did 4 loans. There were 4 loans enrolled for the small business program and 40 loans enrolled for the California Air Resources Board program. And in 2020, there were 3 loans for small business in the small business program and 44 in the CARB program. That was for Sutter County. In Yuba County, in 2019, we didn't have any enrolled for the small business program. 1 enrolled for the one enrolled in 2020 so far. And in the CARD program, we had in 2019, 4 loans enrolled, and in 2020, 2 loans enrolled in the CARD program. So hopefully after today, we can expand that, the availability of, just by people knowing about the program, we can expand participation in your counties. Next slide, please. A little overview of just CalCAP for small business, and you'll see I provided links at the bottom of the page here to the program page and the lender list. I provide these as resources. I know there's a lot of detail that I'm going over, and the information I'm talking about, you can have these links after the webinar and be able to access the same information I'm going over. The CalCAP for Small Business program supports loans to small businesses, including startups and nonprofits. Generally, we see loan proceeds used for land acquisition, startup cost, working capital, construction or renovation of buildings. The CalCAP for Small Business program is also really good for bridge loan, to help with bridge loans by getting the funding up front for bridge loans where there might be a loan guarantee coming from the SBA or some other governmental program later. We also see that for equipment and inventory purchases, and I mentioned we see a lot of food truck loans as well. The maximum loan amount enrolled in the CalCAP for Small Business program is, the maximum loan amount for the small business, the CalCAP for Small Business program is $5 million, and we can enroll $2.5 million in the loan loss reserve portion. We provide extra loan loss support for loans to businesses in severely affected communities or communities, and that can be defined even as, we define that as areas that have a high level of unemployment or that have been affected by a disaster or affected by even the COVID-19. If there's been business disruption because of COVID-19, that's another opportunity for these loans to get extra support. The lenders set all the terms and conditions for the loans pursuant to their usual underwriting policies, and the loans can be short-term, long-term, have fixed or variable rates, and bear any type of amortization schedule. As I mentioned, I provided a link to the program page here that provides the information here on the slide. And then we do recommend that small businesses reach out to our participating lenders. And I provided a link to our lender list for the small business program here. Next slide, please. The collateral support program is a little bit different. The collateral support program provides cash support to cover the collateral shortfall if a business is having difficulty meeting the collateral requirements. Generally, these businesses have good credit, they just don't have the collateral that they need. And these loans tend to, that we see, tend to be for startup costs, franchise fees, construction or renovation of or improvements at a place of business. Again, for bridge loans before permanent financing kicks in, for working capital or just equipment or inventory purchases. These loans tend to be a little bit larger. The $50,000 minimum and a $20 million maximum for under collateralized loans. And again, we provide extra support, as I mentioned, for the severely affected communities, as I mentioned in the small business program, but we also provide them in collateral support for green and manufacturing loans. So, and for loans that are smaller, between $50,000 and $250,000. So we do provide that additional support. The maximum amount of collateral we can provide per loan and borrower is $2.5 million. And again, I provided a link to the program page and a link to the lender list. The lenders that participate in our collateral support program tend to be a little bit, they specialize in the collateral support program. So you'll see different names. There's some that'll be the same, but there may be different names on the collateral support list than there are on the CalCAP for Small Business. Next slide, please. I mentioned the other programs that we have, our specialty programs, the truck program, our electric vehicle charging station program. and our Americans with Disabilities and Seismic Safety Programs. I've provided this page here and the link to allow you to access any of the lender lists for any of the programs. This is just a good resource page. And I'd also like to mention that we're welcoming new lenders into the program. Next slide, please. For lenders, how do lenders enroll in CalCAP? Most lending institutions qualified to do business in California are eligible to participate in CalCAP. Other institutions may qualify depending on the source of CalCAP funds. How do lenders apply? They can submit a one-page application, and here's a link to the application. And if lenders have any questions, they can give us a call. If you're a small business that feels comfortable working with the bank or financial institution that you regularly work with, and you think that they might want to enroll in the CalCAP to be able to benefit from this program, we're happy to talk with them. We provide lender training and education, and we will work with them to enable them to get enrolled and to enroll your loans in the program. Next slide, please. Here is my kind of a resource page. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. Here's my email, my phone number, and then I provided a lot of specific lists to the CalCAP page, but here's the overall CalCAP page. And then you can send questions to our CalCAP inbox. I have staff here in the office waiting to take these calls, and they're really good about responding and being responsive to calls and needs of our small businesses. And here's our main phone number. And if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, it's a good way to follow what we do here at CPCFA. And you can follow, we cover our bond program and the CalCAP program, and we have a brownfield remediation program too. So here's our link. That's my presentation. Thank you very much. I'm going to hand it over to Renee with the employment training panel now. Thank you.
Thank you, Janie. I'm Renee Pierce with the employment training panel. I'm going to be focusing today on our COVID-19 pilot and our paid family leave small business grant program. Next slide. We are a state agency that uses a pay for performance contract to reimburse the costs for employer customized job skills training. So an employer creates their training plan, brings it to us as an application for funding. We have what we call multiple employer contract partners who can very rapidly assist small business going through the application process as a small business can be sometimes a little daunting. So we have the multiple employer contractors out there to assist you with administration of the training and the contract. We do offer an application process interactive orientation. The information is on our website here, the link, or you can call me and I'll be glad to send you the link. The next one will be on December 15th. I do want to say currently we were funded $80 million for training funds this year. Our fiscal year is July 1 through June 30 each year. So we are down in our funding a little bit this year due to COVID, but we do still have funds available, especially around COVID related. Next slide, please. So new and existing full-time workers can be trained. Unemployed individuals can be trained. We have programs specifically for apprenticeship and journey worker training, and specifically small business owners for companies that have 9 or fewer employees and the employer wants to be trained themselves in business skills, management skills, etc. Training can be anything that the employer requires. Customized job skills to that particular employer. The only thing that we exclude really is legally required training, sexual harassment, labor law, OSHA, although there are some exceptions to that, OSHA 10, OSHA 30. We offer flexible delivery methods. The employer can use whatever type of training and training provider works for them. And then as part of the training plan, we do require a post-training employment retention period, normally 90 days past the end of all training. Our contracts are typically 2-year contracts, but an employer doesn't have to use 2 years of time to train. It could be as little as 3 months. And then that post-training employment retention period afterwards, and then you are fully awarded. Next slide, please. So I want to focus on COVID. Our COVID-19 response plan was enacted in March and has been extended through the end of the year to mitigate COVID-19 impacts for our current contractors, or for those contractors who may have been in the application process and didn't have COVID-related training in their initial application, but now they need to add things in. So we've extended a few avenues for them, including increased incidental placement, safety training flexibilities. Normally safety training is a lower amount of the training that we allow, but now we're expanding that. We have a furloughed employees retention flexibility. So if you had training done and you had to furlough employees, we are focusing on that as well. And then next of our COVID rapid reemployment and retraining pilot, next slide please, is focusing on new hire and job creation training, including backfill reemployment for furloughed and impacted workers. So if you have a company that had to lay people off and you're bringing them back and you're having to train them on COVID-related safety training, we are allowing these type of contracts now. The reimbursement is a flat $2,000 per trainee, and it's 4 hours of job skills, and there are maximum flexibilities for training topics and delivery methods, whereas we usually require detailed information on the training. In this particular instance, it's going to be called what we call a COVID bundle for training, and it's much more rapid application process. Wage requirements for this particular pilot are going to be $17.50 an hour. We do allow you to use health, vision, and dental benefits that you are paying your employees up to $2.50 to calculate that wage. We have a modified post-training retention requirement, which is only 20 hours per week rather than our usual 35 hours a week. The pilot projects are capped at $200,000 and may be held concurrent with a current ETP contract, which is another anomaly. So you can have up to 100 trainees with this particular pilot. Next slide, please. The other program I want to highlight really briefly is the Paid Family Leave Small Business Grant. This is a program administered by EDD, allowing California workers to take paid leave to bond with a new child or to care for a seriously ill family member. And this leave has been expanded from 6 to 8 weeks, and also expands the 12-week non-paid protected leave to all businesses regardless of size. For more information on that, you can go to the EDD website with this link. Next slide, please. We have been designated to administer $1 million in California state general funds to support small businesses impacted by the expansion of the paid family leave program. So the principal impacts on an employer, of course, being that you'll have to train and upskill existing workers to cover duties of the employees on PFL, and hiring and training additional workers. Next slide, please. So after November 16th, a small business may receive $500 per employee using PFL. The payment will help cover the cost of hiring and training. Funds are paid by the Paid Family Leave Small Business Grant awardee, which contact information will be available shortly on our website once all the awards are done. Next slide, please. We're currently working to finalize the contracts for these organizations. And as I said, keep your eyes on our website, or for more information, use this email or call the number listed. And, you know, visit our website, California, etpca.gov/grants. Next slide, please. This is my information. Our Southern California representative and statewide, our executive, our director of economic development, Robert Meyer. I will be posting my contact information in the chat as well. Thank you. That's the end of my presentation. And now I'm going to turn it over to Miriam Jaffe-Block, who is the Senior Manager of the California Alternative Energy and Advanced Transportation Financing Authority, CATFA.
Thank you very much, Renee. Thank you to everybody from the Yuba-Sutter community for having me here today, and to the Treasurer for organizing and inviting us along. So I am going to talk a little bit about two programs at CATFA, the California Alternative Energy and Advanced Transportation Financing Authority. We are housed within the Treasurer's office. And I'm going to talk about two programs that can help support small businesses financially and support a green economy. Next slide, please. Okay, so the first program I'm going to talk about is our Small Business Energy Efficiency Financing Program. And we are aware that small businesses right now have a lot of pressure on them, and energy efficiency may be the furthest thing from any small business owner's mind at this point in time. However, for small businesses that might need to replace their HVAC systems or water heating or lighting, doing this can really help lower operational costs and save cash. And so through our program, businesses can access up to $5 million in financing with extended payment terms out to 10 years. Because our program provides finance companies with a credit enhancement, those finance companies are able to approve a very wide base of businesses, as well as provide better rates and terms than the businesses would otherwise qualify for. So this program is for small businesses in your area. That would mean those who receive their energy from PG&E. And both property owners and businesses who lease their space can qualify, as well as cannabis growers and processors. We also welcome young businesses or newer businesses that don't have as much established credit. Next slide, please. So through the program, businesses can upgrade their entire property and do a comprehensive retrofit, or just finance a single piece of equipment like an HVAC system or a boiler or a piece of restaurant equipment. The measures include those things I just mentioned, plus lighting, refrigeration, appliances. The financing can also be combined with PG&E's 0% on-bill financing program, which is a revolving loan fund that the utility runs. And this program can support the energy efficiency measures and some other upgrades that are not covered by PG&E's program. On the right, you see an example of a dairy that we did through the program. So this was in Hanford, so a little further away, but this was an early project, about $400,000 provided through both an equipment finance agreement and a lease for LED lighting, as well as variable frequency drive pumps to make the irrigation and well system much more efficient. And this project, they combined our financing with rebates from PG&E. So if there are building contractors out there who are small businesses that do energy projects themselves, we would love to have your participation in our program as an enrolled and listed contractor, that we would advertise you to customers looking for upgrades. And if there are small businesses who need financing, then you could find it at the address that's listed here, gogreenfinancing.com/smallbusiness. And I'll also put that in the chat in a minute. Next slide, please. Okay, the second program that I'm going to talk about is our sales tax exclusion program for manufacturers that was referenced a little bit earlier by one of the other speakers. And the goal here is to support advanced manufacturing in California. This is a way for manufacturers to purchase equipment without paying the sales and use tax on that equipment, and that works out to be about an 8 to 10% savings off of purchases depending on the sales tax averages at the time. This program is available for both startups or businesses who are expanding, and businesses can access up to $10 million of tax exclusion for each project and have 3 years to use it. So in the example on the slide, you can see that a sales tax exclusion could save about $1.25 million on a $15 million purchase. We've done projects as small as $500,000 in equipment with a sales tax exclusion of $25,000. Now, there are 4 eligible pathways that you see here on the right side of the slide to qualify. The first is recycling. This includes companies that produce recycled feedstock or use recycled feedstock in the production of another product or soil amendment. Then you see alternative source. So this would be producers of fuel or energy that replace fossil fuel sources, as well as producers of energy efficient products. Then we've got advanced manufacturing, where this is for companies that are using a manufacturing process that is more sustainable and advanced than current practices or the current industry standard. And so we're specifically looking to see that less water and energy are being used, or that fewer pollutants are coming out of the process. And then finally, we've got advanced transportation, which is commercially competitive transportation related technologies like producers of electric cars or aircrafts or batteries. And to learn more about this program, you can contact us at catefad.sto.ca.gov, and I will also put that in the chat in a moment. So thank you, everybody. Finally, I am going to turn it over to our final speaker, who is from CalSavers, Mr. Jonathan Herrera.
Thank you so much, Miriam. And let me also say thank you to the Yuba-Sutter County EDC and Yuba-Sutter Chamber, Treasurer Ma. We're really grateful for this collaboration. And thank you all, everybody who joined us today, for being here to learn about all these great programs. As Miriam said, my name is Jonathan Herrera. I'm the outreach manager for the state's new retirement savings program for private sector workers in the states called CalSavers. My goal today is to discuss how CalSavers is striving to widen access for individuals to have financial resiliency by making retirement savings easy. And yes, I'll talk a little bit about the pandemic and how that makes this program even more necessary. You know, the reason why we care so much about this and why I feel it's so important is that, you know, we have a big retirement problem in California. You know, the upsetting reality is that nearly half of Californians are projected to retire into economic hardship if they can retire at all. And one of the biggest drivers of that problem is that there's more than 7.5 million Californians who are going to work every day, playing by the rules, but don't have access to a workplace-based retirement plan, even just a way to save their own money from their paycheck. In Yuba and Sutter counties, we've identified more than 900 employers with more than 17,800 employees that fall under that category, don't have access to, you know, a workplace-based retirement program. So potentially huge impact for this program in your counties. But, you know, the reason why that's so important is that the research shows that people are 15 times more likely to be saving and be on a path towards retirement security if they have a way to save automatically at work via their paycheck. And that's what CalSavers is all about. Next slide, please. So knowing that the best way to get people saving and on a path towards retirement security is through the workplace, the California legislature back in 2016 passed Senate Bill 1234, which did a couple of things. And most importantly, what we want to share with you is that there is a new mandate for California businesses. And what it says is that any business in the state of California with at least 5 employees If you're not currently offering an employer-sponsored retirement plan, you're going to need to sign up for CalSavers and facilitate your employees access to this program. But what that means really is that you have a choice as a business owner. You can either go out on the private market and find, an employer-sponsored retirement plan, things like a 401k, a Simple, a SEP. We have a list on our website of the different programs that you could use instead of CalSavers. Or option number 2 is register for CalSavers and again, facilitate your employees access to this program. The deadlines for compliance for this new mandate roll out over the next couple of years. But in fact, the first deadline just passed for businesses with more than 100 employees. That deadline was September 30th of this year. So if we have any businesses on this webinar with more than 100 employees that don't have, an employer-sponsored plan, your registration deadline is passed and you should probably get on it. But the next couple of deadlines roll out over the next couple of years based on the size of your business. So the next one is going to be for businesses with more than 50 employees. You'll have until June 30th of 2021. And then businesses with 5 or more employees will have until June 30th of 2022. But it's important to note that we opened the program back in July of 2019. And when it opened, it's open for all eligible businesses. So if you have 5 or 6 employees and you've been looking for a retirement savings solution for your employees, we can help you start saving as soon as you're ready. If you have less than 5 employees, you're not subject to the mandate, but we did open the program for individual enrollment. So you or your employees can sign up for your own account on our website, calsavers.com, at any time. Next slide, please. So because of this new mandate, we wanted to design the program as an affordable, easy solution for small businesses. So we wanted to make sure that CalSavers addressed the 3 hurdles that most employers cite as, the things that prevent them from offering a plan. So we've tried to design the program to be as easy as possible to facilitate. Again, there are no fees for employers. And then employers, of course, are not fiduciaries of the program because you're not sponsoring it. In order to become compliant and stay compliant, all you have to do is register by your state required deadline, set up your account, which means, setting up a username and password online, telling us a little bit about how you do your payroll. You're required to submit and maintain a roster of your employees, and then submit employee contributions for each pay period as part of your existing payroll process. And those are really the only 2 ongoing responsibilities for employers, is maintaining that roster. So you tell us when you hire new employees so they have the opportunity to participate if they want to. And then you continue to submit contributions for your participating employees as part of your existing payroll process. And then your employees get access to a very simple, portable, low-fee way for them to save in their own individual IRA that's always in their name, and that's managed by private sector financial firms with the expertise to run this program. So what they get, is access to high-quality financial service product, but with state oversight, which we think is really important. I know that I'm the last person standing between the end of the program. So next slide, please. So I will just say in closing, we don't have much time to go into the real details of this program. So I would invite you to connect with us. You can check out our website. Feel free to call or email us. We also offer one-on-one support. We have dedicated field teams and onboarding teams who will help employers get through this process. But to learn more about the program, I think the best way would be to join one of our twice weekly webinars. You can see our calendar at calsavers.com/events. We'll go into all of the details and really explain how easy compliance can be with this and how easy this program is. So lastly, we did want to be mindful of the hardships that the pandemic has brought to many businesses. So next slide, please, which is why we did vote to extend our deadline to September 30th. So those businesses that do need more time, if you're temporarily shut down or at risk of closure, please reach out to us. But do know that CalSavers was created to improve financial security for all working Californians. And it was designed for employers to be easy to facilitate. Thousands of employers are already participating, and many of them have shared that adding CalSavers to their existing payroll process is simple. But we're proud to be promoting the program during this period because now more than ever, if this pandemic has taught us anything, it's how vital it is for us as Californians to have financial resiliency in the short and long term. And CalSavers was designed for just that, to help workers on both of those measures. So Please connect with us, join one of our webinars to learn more about the program. And with that, I will hand it over to the treasurer to close us out. Thank you.
So thank you all. Thank you, Marnie, and the Yuba-Sutter Chamber, as well as the Yuba-Sutter Economic Development Corporation. We have great speakers here today. I hope you all got something out of it. Every time I listen to it, I learned something new that I use in my talking points. So I would just like to ask the speakers and Marnie after if we could stay on for a group picture, because we forgot to do one at the beginning. But again, I will turn it back over to Marnie, and thank you, Yuba and Sutter County, for all you do for the state of California.
Great, thank you. And I just want to, on behalf of Yuba and Sutter County and the Chamber here, say thank you to the panelists. I know with our businesses, our small businesses, they are, heads are down in their businesses, even more so now. I'm trying to navigate this really challenging time. So, bringing us all together to share what resources that are available is really critical. And so my hope today is that our attendees heard something that they hadn't heard about before and now can access some of those resources that are so desperately needed. Anecdotally, I've been out talking to a lot of businesses. They've gone through their savings, they've gone through their PPP, their EIDL. Our counties have put together grant programs with the CARES Act funding. That money, they continue to go through it trying to save their businesses. So it's just really heartening to know that there's other resources available out there. So thank you so much. And thank you, Fiona, and all your staff for putting this together. I think this is going to be a great resource that we have recorded. So we're going to share it out more broadly as well. So thank you so much.
All right.
Have a great day,
Thank
everybody.
you. All right, speakers can stay on. Let's take a group picture. And Marnie, thank you. All right. Okay.
Marnie, do you mind stopping the recording?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you.